Hi, I'm Tashna, a creative streamer on Twitch and video creator on YouTube, and today I'm making an Omanyte out of Hama Beads. This is an Omanyte from the bead sprites of Twitch Plays Pokemon. You may have heard this before. Basically, Twitch chat controlled the game Pokémon Red, and they applied backstories and personalities to a lot of the Pokemon in the game. There are a couple of different brands that you can use for fuse beads. I use Hama because it is so readily available for me in the UK, and I also like the way it melts. You can also use Perler, Artcal and Nabi. I have had experience with Perler but not with the other ones. So I'm just working through right now are the black beads. With Hama there are 3 different shades of grey. I use some darker versions, and if I were to make this again I probably would use the 2 lighter ones rather than the 2 darker ones. As mentioned, this is Lord Helix. There's a lot of applied lore from the Twitch chat which is really interesting to read upon, which includes the Church of Helix that apparently continued in the Kanto and Johto regions after the game. As I said, really interesting, something that I want to read some more of, and it is all available to check up online. I'm working through the greys here. I do have colour sprites of this as well, and these sprites were by hamigakimomo on Tumblr. I will put a link in the info section below. I really like these sprites. I think the application of the in-game lore, as well as it being the original grey, black and white, I think it just looks really good and it fits in-game and with the original ideas. Realistically, I should have used the lighter greys rather than the 2 darker greys, but hindsight is a beautiful thing. I always recommend having reference pictures up, and I should take my own advice in this. If I were to make it again, I would definitely use the 2 lighter greys, and we will see if I do that in future. I was live streaming this at the same time on twitch.tv/Tashna. You can see me there. It probably took me around 2 hours total, including ironing, and I've obviously sped it up for you guys. I really like live streaming it as I feel that I can answer a lot of questions and queries immediately rather than having to try explain it. I'm a very visual explainer, so to be able to do that live is my jam. Working through the cheat code right now. I'm not quite sure what it does in game, but I'm super interested to find out. I actually start this in the medium grey colour and change my mind, and here I am replacing those with the light grey. If you ever feel the need to change a pattern, try not to worry too much about it. That's absolutely fine. And you can just double check everything before you iron it at the end, so it's not as big of an issue as you might think. Just shout artistic license. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. As you may have noticed, I do use tweezers. You don't have to. I just find it a lot easier, and I can place 2 beads at the same time. Changing a couple of bits there because I'm not quite happy with the shape. Here I throw beads on and I kind of poke them onto place. It's a lot quicker, especially if you're in your final colour, that you can just throw them on, wiggle the boards about and get them into place. Just finishing up filling in the white here, and I'm going to move on to the light grey in a second. That means that I've used all 3 types of grey, and in the pattern there's actually only 2, and the white should have really stuck with it. Again, probably going to redo at some point, which may or may not be another YouTube video. I'm going to be working through the other Twitch Plays Pokemon sprites. Next up should be the ATV, or All-Terrain Venomoth, so that should be pretty good. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. As we start to fill out, I'll talk to you a little bit about ironing, which is coming up next. The ironing process is the most important bit, and that's the bit where you can ruin all the hard work that you've done, so it's really important to get that right. I use the official Perler ironing paper. I find it's the best one that I've come across. I've used Hama, I've used unbranded, and it's just the best. And there are 2 methods that you can start out the ironing process. I'm ironing on the boards because the other method I'm really bad at, so this works out well for me. When I'm doing this, I just want to make sure that they are connected enough that I can flip it off without them falling off. The other method is the masking tape method, where you put masking tape all the way across so they all stick down, poke holes through it, and then flip it over. I'm terrible at it, so I don't do that. I iron the back a little bit as well. Just with Hama, it gives it a little bit more strength, a little bit of that connection so that it can't bend away from itself. And I'm ironing the front a second time so I can really close those holes up. I probably will iron this again off video so that I get a really flat, really pixelated looking Omanyte. When you're done, you do want to set it aside and let it cool down under a flat surface. I use hardback books. This just means that you get a really nice flat bead sprite at the end, which isn't going to be curved. If you've liked the video, please feel free to subscribe on YouTube and follow at twitch.tv/Tashna.